you can speak. For me, at least, the more slowly and clearly you can speak, the better.
Okay. Jim and Peter, did you guys get a dial-in number when you registered?
I don't know. I click on the link that you sent for the other meeting. That's all I did.
Okay. Because Bruce was saying that he had to dial in. I guess he couldn't do like, you know, the regular video from where he was. So he wanted to dial in.
Oh, isn't that what you're doing?
No, she's on Zoom. I mean,
I'm
she's
on
on.
Zoom, but I'm just
No.
muted.
Not there. So let me go to our Zoom account and see if I can find that in the invitation, right? That's what you need.
It's not. I've already looked.
Oh,
It's not in the invitation. It's supposedly it's sent when you individually
oh,
register.
yeah, okay. So let me see if I can find the email.
Are you
That's-
looking for just the audio only phone numbers?
Yeah.
Because I got those, if you want me to paste them in.
Oh. Yeah, yeah, Bruce. I think we're waiting on Bruce
You want me to email that to you or put it in the chat, Lisa?
You can put it in the chat and I'll see if I can copy it out and text it to Bruce.
Okay, it's gonna all be run together, sort of. Let's see, One Tap Mobile, all this stuff. And here we go. A lot of stuff, so hopefully it'll work. Oh boy, well, you'll have to parse it on your own, I guess.
Got it. I'll see if I can copy it for him.
And by the way, I just got that out of the bottom of the registration confirmation email.
Okay.
So it is there.
Okay, I just sent it. Thank you. It said it failed to send on my end. Let me image. He said he'll dial in about 20 minutes.
Lisa, did it send?
I'm sending it to him on email. It didn't send, but his email message said that he will dial in about 20 minutes. So I guess we can get started, and whenever Bruce joins us, you know, we'll catch him up. But it's actually the main thing that we were going to talk about today was the one-page document that Bruce had done, and see if we had any updates or changes to that, because I believe he was waiting on us to take a review of that so he could send it all over with the updated objectives to the consultants. So we really kind of need Bruce on the line to move forward. Unless you guys, I didn't see any changes. Did anybody have any changes on that document?
I've already made my only comment. I'd looked at it, and my only comment I already made, and that was, you know, I don't know what he calls them. Not, he doesn't call them objectives, but
Goals.
goals. Yeah, that if as long as the goals and objectives are the same, it seemed to me that that I didn't have any trouble with his one pager.
Okay.
Or did I?
Okay. Does anyone that has joined from the community have any questions or comments for us while we wait on Bruce?
You mean about the document?
Yeah, or whatever else you want to ask the, committee members that are here. I'm just trying to kill time. I don't know if we
Sure.
can do
Well,
radio silence for 20 minutes.
as long as we're spending time together, I'd be interested if either of the there are three community members here, if they were present at the last meeting where OP presented, I'd be interested in if they had any thoughts about what we heard at that meeting.
Well, before we go there, I would like to respond to Lisa's invitation. So I did send to the four of you commissioners, a comment about desires versus needs.
Yeah, I read it.
And
Yeah,
I
me
wonder
too.
how
I
wonder
saw
how
that.
landed for you guys.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. You have to be careful because it's so easy to say, yeah, I like everything.
Well, and
Yeah, I like that too, Cal. I mean, I think we could probably integrate it. I haven't, looked at the old language versus the new, and the commission hasn't taken a vote. I'm hoping that the commission can take the vote on Monday, but I did like that suggestion.
Yeah. We have a certain amount of land and we can't put everything there. So we want to put things there that are really going to be used.
that's my point.
Yep, I agree.
People can say, I like the idea of this, I like
Yep.
the idea of that, but if
Yep.
they're not actually going to use it or their family's not going to use it.
Yeah, right. I like the idea of jogging, but I never seem to do it.
I did my walk this morning. I got it in before the South Carolina sun took me out. I did get my walk in.
Walking is a different story. I enjoy that.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Jim, you asked about the OP meeting. I'm going to leave that to others.
Yeah.
Wait,
Any,
I think Jim was asking about the last survey meeting, weren't you, Jim?
No, I wasn't. I was asking about the OP meeting we had just a few days ago where they presented and then the community commented and questioned on it. I don't know if you were there for that.
Oh, I was there.
I thought you were.
Yeah. You want an opinion?
Well,
I mean-
that's something that, we're just sitting here doing nothing at the moment.
Well, I mean, as I've mentioned to others, I've mentioned to Peter, if I were the director, I would have fired the whole bunch of them for being bad communicators and doing terrible drawings that didn't really communicate what they wanted to say.
Mhm.
At the same token, I would have fired all the, just about 2/3 of the people who commented also, since they had a high disregard for facts and or didn't understand what they were looking at. So, in my view, factually, there's not a lot of problem with what OP was presenting. The way they presented it and the way this conversation is going is a problem, which is why I spent a lot of effort in the last week and putting together the post that I sent out today to show that everybody's fears about this site's ability to accommodate all the uses we want it to are unfounded.
Mhm.
And in fact, the notion that I think we can have more, not less, on this site. And I was actually very, very pleasantly surprised once we dove into it, and we added some childcare to the program, and have presented what amounts to a, as we say, it's a technical term, but it's a freaking good site plan for this site. And I hope people look at it and take it seriously. I'm not sure how to fold that ultimately into the RFP and all that, but it really shows that the essence of that almost everything anybody's complained about can be accommodated on the site.
Well, that's good news.
So it's on the listserv. Take a look at it.
Yeah, I would definitely suggest if people haven't seen it, open it up and look at the drawing. It's a really good sketch of what can be done on that site. There is, and I agree with you, Ron. I'm not going to presume to understand the cause of the misinformation. I think it's a combination of things, but the amount of misinformation on that listserv is just crazy. So, and it's unfortunate because, and I do think sometimes, people may, want people to pay attention. So they put something on there that's kind of alarming. But I think Ron's post does a good job of kind of clarifying all that.
I wanted to mention that I'm writing a piece called, probably will be called something like Building Consensus, which is a different approach to all of this than what I've seen here in DC since I came back from California. And I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to circulate it, but what I see on the listserv and what I saw at the meeting in terms of the community's participation suggests that the way we're going about trying to get the community come together is not actually getting the community to come together. So I'll let you know as I progress with that. I'll probably work on it this weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
and I don't. More I think about that, I just and I might change my mind next week. I just don't see that as a commission role. I mean, I think we tossed around the best way to do that. None of the commissioners are trained professionals in that arena. We don't have the budget. We don't have the expertise. That's what people pay technical assistants and consultants for. And I'm just not sure, I just think, there's a lot of pushback regardless. I mean, I'm not so sure that I think we could get to consensus, but I think we're a long way from that. From some of the people that really oppose the project.
Seems to me that my hunch is there are some people who just simply do not want any affordable housing there. And so they will look at they'll try to find any problem to try to say, well, you just can't do that.
Yeah. So I want to make clear that I'm not suggesting this is for the ANC necessarily to take on. What ends up happening with that piece is unknown, but
good. Thank you, Cal, for not suggesting that because we certainly can't take that on.
Certainly.
I can
what?
tell you that right now.
I see
We are
Bruce.
nowhere near. Yeah, Bruce just joined us.
Yes.
Bruce,
well,
are you
maybe
there?
it's something that others of us in the community do and not the ANC. So anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many positions also on the ANC. And you got people that, feel really strongly about representing, a certain constituent core, which, that's what they're entitled to do. They were elected. So they're entitled to do that. So our role sometimes as electeds, kind of conflicts with that. And I think in this situation, we really see that. Yeah. So the ANC is not in the best position to do that, in my opinion.
Yep. So I'll look at other ways anyway. But I yield because Bruce is here.
All right,
everybody.
So
how are you?
Bruce, how are you? I'm
fine.
not on camera. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yep.
Okay, I'm on a windy beach, so hopefully my audio stays. But I was telling the other commissioners, we have everyone here on the committee. No one had any additional adjustments to your one-page document, except for the ones that we discussed in terms of updating the objectives. And I don't know if you got a chance to see Cal's email. He also sent an email about a possible update to the objectives regarding community needs versus wants that I think we should definitely take a look at and consider for the Monday vote. But given that, do you want to discuss anything on the document, or do you have any updates on the consultants when we're sending all this over to them?
Well, I've sent it to them, and unfortunately, they couldn't join today. But I think we're in a position now to move forward with the vote on Monday on the objectives and on the document and on the community being mindful of what we have in mind to do. So I think we're in a good position to press on from there. I think we have already in the committee discussed the objectives sufficiently. We're all in agreement, I believe. We have the draft document. So my question to the group would be what we want to cover, and to you, Lisa, in this particular meeting. I'm mindful of talking about next steps, assuming that we have, of course, the vote to move forward on Monday.
Yeah, I think we'll have the vote. I'm definitely, I'll yield to the other commissioners. I'm ready to discuss next steps. But I think on Monday we'll be able to definitely get a vote that approves the document in its entirety to include the updated objectives. And I think, I don't have your document in front of me that kind of lays out that timeline, but I think our next step was the interview process of folks
Right.
in the community.
Right. So
Yeah.
I can review for you, Lisa, since you don't have the document in front of you, what the tasks that we had identified in the document are.
Okay.
And if everybody else is fine with that, it's doing what we've already done now, which is to sort of set the broad strategy and structure with the objectives, square that away with the consultants, which we have done. If there are any further comments from them before Monday, of course, I'll share those if I hear them. And then draft our plan, which is effectively what we have outlined in the document. We're doing the work of informing the public and calling for input. That's something I think that we want to echo on Monday, which is to say, here's what we intend to do. Here are the objectives. We've already reviewed this with the public previously, but we can reiterate the call for input. And then we want to move towards defining what we want to know, the data points. We had talked previously about researching prior studies, making sure we're clear on what we already know and where the gaps are. And then the process of drafting sample questions, engaging stakeholders and community members for feedback. All of that is the work that we had laid out for July and August, leading up to the design and testing of the questionnaire, and then implementation in September. So that's just kind of a quick review of the steps, Lisa, and others.
Okay, sounds good. Does Jim, Peter, you guys have any questions on it?
No, but well, I think I'd like to know, we're gonna be meeting again on Tuesday of next week, right?
Yeah, every
And,
week.
Yeah,
Yep.
and Tuesday at, what was it? Is it 5 o'clock normally?
I think we had set 7 o'clock, 6 or
Okay.
7 to accommodate commissioners at work.
All right.
Right.
All right, and so what is there, if there's something I should be working on before that next meeting, I'd like to know what that would be.
Yeah, okay.
Well, something that we need to take a look at here, perhaps now, certainly on Tuesday, is delegation of duties and, sort of our work plan. So for example, as we take a look at the data points, what we want to know in the survey, and we take a look at prior studies in the community, recent studies that have been done, and identifying what the gaps are. That's something that we can discuss how we wish to assign that work, take it on ourselves. And that's something, Jim, that we can discuss, and you can be thinking about that, and we can discuss that on Tuesday. I think the key thing too is working with the consultants, working with the input that we have thus far from the community, the drafting of sample questions that we would then submit to stakeholders and community members for feedback towards designing the actual questionnaire. And that's something that I want to get the consultants input on, obviously, bring them into the conversation. I trust that if we have the meeting at 7 o'clock on Tuesday, we can have a quorum of at least 2 of the 3 consultants joining us, so they can be part of this discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bruce, thanks. That's helpful. Now, but I've been looking over some documents, but it would be helpful for me to have a list of all the things I should be looking at. For example, now I've been reading the letters sent to the ANC by different community members.
Right.
But there are some surveys, and what are all the ones I should have seen by now?
So what we'll do, why don't we do this, Jim? I can tell you what I recall them as being, and others can supplement that right now. When we could put together a comprehensive list and make sure over the weekend, at least, we all have that.
That would be
But for
great.
but for starters, we kind of hark back to, again, these are prior studies to be taken as input for our consideration of current need to know questions. To be very clear, I'm not suggesting by looking back over past surveys that we base anything on those exactly, because they were done a number of years ago, and obviously there's new information that people will have in mind. But just to review, there is, of course, the 2018 Community Center survey that was done at the time. The ANC was looking at modernization of just the community center. So that was back in 2018. Then when the city, of course, proposed revisions to the comprehensive plan, the ANC formed a task force. The ANC conducted a survey. This was done in December of 2019. It was reported out in the ANC's task force report in 2020. So there's that survey, right? Both of those surveys, the one of the community center, I believe, had 680 some respondents, and the 2019, December 19 survey at the time of their proposed revisions to the comprehensive plan had something in the order of 900 or so, something like that. There was the survey done in conjunction with the development of the small area plan. That's another document that we'd certainly want to take a look at and analyze. There was, of course, the DemPed survey that was done related to surplusing in February and March of this year. So those are at least 4 prior surveys. I might be missing one in that time frame. If so, someone can certainly fill that gap and refresh my memory.
No, that Bruce, that's really helpful. And but I would add to that list the letters from individuals that we
So
have.
community comments, yeah, we have those from the surplusing and small area plan. And I like that idea, Bruce. I think we do have all of this stuff up on our website, and it is now fairly organized, but I do like the idea of maybe we can categorize what's a survey, what's community comment, and just make, links to all that on one document so that everyone has access to it.
Yeah,
Can I make
excellent.
can I make a comment? One of the big problems out there has been lack of understanding of the process that we're engaged in, and fundamental lack of the concepts that underlie that process. Are your consultants who are not planners and have not been involved in this, they need to understand the basic tasks that the community is undergoing. Is there going to be a provision for basically educating them to that?
Sure. I mean, that's part of it, Ron. And
but you don't get that from just looking at the surveys. You need to be having a conversation about what is affordable housing, what is planning, what is zoning. People don't understand what all this stuff is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. I think what we want to do, and we're talking about now in just kind of a limited way, your points are well taken, prior consultations with the community that we want to be mindful of. So you're adding to that other aspects that our consultants need to be aware of, educating the community on different aspects of what we'd be asking about.
Let me interrupt. I'm not talking about educating the community. Peter's already told me I can't do that. I'm just joking, Peter. I'm talking about educating the people who are going to write these questions. How do they know what to ask questions about if they don't understand what planning is about?
Well, we're going to be talking to them about that, Ron. I mean, that's part of what we're going to be doing, right? We're going to be working with them. We're not turning this over to them entirely to put the questionnaire together. This is, so
met with them. We sat for hours with them at Bruce's house. I mean, so they're not coming to this naive.
And they are community.
Okay, that's fine. If that's the case, that's fine.
Yeah, they're members of the community. So in talking to them, all of them had a general understanding of what's been going on because they've actually been following it themselves. So all three of them live right here in Chevy Chase. So they do have some understanding of it. But I think, definitely as Bruce said, we don't intend for them to write the questions. We're going to come up with the questions. And they're going to help us, with some of the aspects and the technical aspects and making sure we're asking things in the right way. And you guys, in terms of being on this call and that have been involved, from day one with the survey committee, you're going to be a big help. And you already have drafted a bunch of good questions, Ron, that we might use, but we have a good jump off point from that document.
The most critical distinction that I've learned about that I think you're referring at least to this, Ron, is between an RFP and the whole zoning process. And there was a lot of lack of understanding of that distinction at our last meeting you were talking about. But our survey, I don't know, I get, this is my question, is our survey going to even get into the zoning thing, or are we we're more focused on the RFP, or are we not?
Well, that's all to be kind of decided, Jim. I think I mean, we need to be thinking about that. And I think what we have to do is unpack our two main objectives and be clear as to how we're accomplishing those two objectives in the questions that we develop. Mm-hmm. Bearing in mind some of the constraints we've already recognized, which is we don't want a survey that runs 20 or 30 questions and takes people half an hour to finish.
No.
So it has to be straightforward. And we have 2 or 3 questions or so that are demographic, right? That allow us to understand where people are, then do the crosstabs and analyze the data when it comes in. I think for now, I mean, I don't want to abbreviate this call. I know Lisa's on vacation, so am I, but we can talk as long as you would like. I think given the fact that we are going to have our ANC meeting on Monday, a follow-on meeting on Tuesday, and our consultants will hopefully join us then. What I would want to do is that document that I just mentioned in terms of identifying some of the core reference studies that have already happened, and make sure we all have that. And then take the time next Tuesday to sit with the consultants and work through these tasks that we've outlined and begin to roll up our shirt sleeves and assign some work and understand how we're going to get from A to Z.
Okay. And where this, you said a document, Bruce? What did you mean by a document?
It's one that I just a few minutes ago said I put together with the surveys that have been done previously, the citations. I mean, they're at the website.
Oh, Bruce, that's
but-
great. You're gonna send a single document to us by email then?
Yeah, that's the idea. I would just roll
Great.
everything up into one.
Great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
but
Yeah, that
but
would be
Lisa-
that'd be really helpful. Thank you.
yeah, I would just say Lisa's done a lot of the heavy lifting because these materials are really at the website, but I'll
Yeah.
consolidate them.
But
Yeah.
they're here and they're here and there. I know I found some of them, but okay, good.
All right, that sounds like a plan.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you guys and my AirPods. So this is perfect because my AirPods are at 10%. But this was great. Thank you all for tuning in on your vacations. I really appreciate it. Community members, thank you for tuning in. Because I do think you're going to make, you're holding us accountable, and it's going to make a better process. So a few of you guys have joined each meeting. I really do appreciate that. And with that, we
Before you
can,
go.
uh-huh.
So I'm just looking at the schedule. So not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after is the race meeting. And I would
I'll
like us
change it.
not to have it at the same time because we didn't
We
have a
won't.
quorum in the race committee. Okay.
Yeah, I will make sure that I change the time and I'll let the committee members decide on that, but we could probably do an hour early. So we're not conflicting with race.
Great. Thank you.
Great.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all. I
Okay, guys.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Have fun.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Safe travels. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, you too. All right. Bye-bye.